Hi, I'm Linda Fox. I'm with PhocusWire and I'm with Ingrid Miller. She's General Manager for Travel at MediaAlpha. Thank you for joining us in the studio.
Thank you.
So let's just start. What, in your view, are the greatest challenge for travel advertisers right now?
I would say probably Google is the biggest challenge.
Right.
The fact that they're moving into the space and they're basically pushing all the SEM ads off page one, it just makes it incredibly expensive for most travel advertisers to make it onto page one and get that traffic that they used to be able to get. Yeah. And that's now a multi-year problem. It's not a new problem, sure. But they're still facing that.
And now you've just launched this new product in travel, is that right?
It's technically the whole product, the platform is really 8 years old, because we launched in the insurance category first.
Right.
And in that world, we were also the only and the first transparent ad exchange for, with insurance, it's calls, leads, and purchases of plans and things like that. We launched in travel, so we had to make some adjustments to the platform about 2 years ago. And the reason why we participated in launch here in Europe is we've been very focused on North America, and this is really our start to our push in Europe and the rest of the world, actually, because travel is just basically global. You can't just stay in one country.
International in nature.
But now our product is completely globalized and all of our ad products are localized for the different countries, and so we're ready to go.
Okay, so when you talked earlier on stage, the sort of scenario you gave, you talked about the transparency, you talked about performance marketing, advertising, but you kind of gave this scenario that right now, with the lack of transparency, it feels like there's this sort of race to the bottom in terms of price. Can you just talk me through that?
It's more that in the opaque model with ad networks, it's not so much a race to the bottom, it's that they hope to make it look cost effective with their cost per click model. And so they have to have low quality websites mixed in with high quality websites to drive that overall effective cost per click for the advertiser down, and cost per booking down.
Sure.
But if you get to a transparent model, you don't need the bad inventory anymore. Right. You can just literally sell the stuff that actually delivers bookings efficiently, and advertisers have that control. And so it's not so much that they're trying to lower the value, it's that they're trying to look efficient when they're actually not.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no,
it's a complicated subject.
It is a complicated subject.
And I've gotten a lot of feedback that like, I didn't really understand what you're saying. And I guess what I was trying to do this morning was just intrigue people, make them wonder if maybe there's another way to monetize their site traffic.
Of the travel company that's actually getting the bookings versus these other ones that are just bringing the volume, that was the bit that kind of struck me. So
I mean, there are a lot of websites that purely are arbitrage, and that is all they do. And obviously that's harder to do now with Google, but they have affiliate networks. There are a whole bunch of different ways to get really low quality incentivized traffic. And their whole business model is really dependent on these comparison ads that they run, and they just filter them through. They get that revenue and then go out and buy more traffic.
Maybe we should rename it Arbitrage.
Yeah, but I mean, there's nothing actually wrong with that model. It's just that it's not sustainable or scalable. And in a transparent exchange, at the very least, if we got a site like that in our network, their inventory would be correctly priced. It would be right priced by the advertisers. They'd say, this is what it's worth to me. I'm not going to just pay some blanket CPC.
Sure.
I'm going to pay pennies, on that. But then that arbitrager site, even in that scenario, they can say, that traffic source gets me 10 cents, the other one gets me 5. I'm going to scale up the 10 cents. And they can actually grow their business and maybe become a more legitimate consumer-focused website. They actually have a chance of doing that. Yeah. Whereas in a blind network, they have no idea.
They just don't know,
Yeah. So that's where we think it's really powerful, even for those lower quality sites that might think they're benefiting from a blind network. Long term, they're not.
So is it a hard sell into the travel industry because they're so used to this opaque model?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a lot of things that make it hard. And the reason, again, why I focused almost entirely on the travel website perspective versus the advertiser's perspective is that they're entrenched with the blind networks. They're worried about cherry picking. It's really true. They're worried if an advertiser can pick, they're just going to buy the New York to Vegas route and be done with it, which never actually happens.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that from the display advertising world. When that went transparent and programmatic, everybody made more money.
Yes.
So, I mean, the model works, but people are still anxious about that. And then the other piece is that the blind ad networks see the end. They see that transparency is coming.
Mm-hmm.
They've started to adjust, based on advertiser demand, adjust their model so that they have tiered inventory instead of just one bucket. You know, so it's high quality and low quality, and they charge different rates, right? So they're starting to do that, but they can't actually be 100% transparent because they would lose all of their the model would fall apart. They wouldn't be able to like pay people more if they needed to, or do those things that they do, which isn't criminal. It's just fundamental.
But it's a transition phase.
Yeah, they would have a very hard time breaking that down and starting from scratch. So they're spending a ton of energy locking publishers into long-term exclusive contracts and things like that.
Right.
So for us, the time, it takes forever you know, to even get into a test window and where they're allowed without being punished by the ad networks to actually test us. And we hear that again and again and again. So that's why we went so hardcore in our message about like, you really need to question the model and whether you're actually getting paid what you should be, given what you're contributing to the network. And, maybe push back on these exclusive contracts, because there's really no advantage as a site to having an exclusive contract. You should be getting competition in and pushing. You'd get more money at the end of the day if you did.
And Kayak was one of the companies that you actually had some success with.
So I used to work there.
Okay.
But so I referenced Kayak specifically because I used to run their ad products and I managed all the relationships with the blind ad networks, because there was no MediaAlpha back when I worked at Kayak.
Right. But you did do a campaign with them, or you did this a case study, or isn't that?
There is on the advertising side. On the publisher side, I can't really explicitly talk about it.
Okay.
But yeah, no. Kayak is actually, they built their own platform. They were one of the first, if not the first, to do comparison advertising. It's core to their business. And then I think the networks copied them, right? So I think that makes sense. Where it all came from. But that business model is still alive and well. The private one, TripAdvisor is the same way. They have their own ad server. So
great. Okay, well, Ingrid, thank you very much for joining us.
Forever.
Thanks
Thank
again.
you. I appreciate it.